Hello everyone, I am Osima Biswal. Today I will discuss about the drive to maturity and age of high mass consumption stage of Rostow'S economic growth. In last class I have already discussed about the traditional society, the preconditions of take-off and the take-off. The take-off taken in Great Britain 1783 to 1802, in France 1830 to 1860, in Belgium 1833 to 1860, and United States 1843 to 1860, in India 1952 and China 1952. Okay, in this class I will discuss about the drive to maturity stage of Rostow'S economic growth. Rostow defines it as the period when a society has effectively applied the range of modern technology to the block of its resources. It is the period of long sustained growth extending over 4 decades. New production techniques take place of the old ones. During this period, the rate of saving and investment reaches such a magnitude that economic development becomes automatic. As the economy drives to maturity, the overall capital per head increases. New leading sectors are created. The proportion of population engaged in rural pursuits declines. People prefer to live in urban areas, and the structure of the country's foreign trade undergoes a radical change. Working force becomes technically skilled. Real wages rise. The working force organizes itself in order to have greater economic and social security. Professor Rostow has given the symbolic dates for technical maturity of some countries. In Great Britain 1850, United States 900, Germany 1910, France 1910, Sweden 1930, Japan 1940, Russia 1950, Canada 1953. Okay. The significant changes will take place within a society in a drive to maturity stages are given as under. The composition of workforce changes. The class becomes more skilled. The real wages start rising. The class develops the tendency for urbanization and prefers to enjoy modern amenities available in the societies. Rostow estimated that percentage of working force depending upon agriculture declines from 75% to 20% when the economy reaches its maturity stage. These statistics indicate that as society progresses, people start migrating from the rural to urban areas. In short, the process of maturity lays basis for economic and social reforms. Second, the character of leadership changes. The control of industries passes into hands of sufficient and polished managers. The employers and employees consider themselves as co-partners in the enterprise. Okay, drive to maturity witnesses dynamic leadership which fosters human relations between employers and employees. The industrial peace and social security becomes the hallmark of the maturity phase of the society. Third, as the maturity phase of the economy comes to close, the society becomes fed up with the miracles of the industrialization and starts aspiring for something new. The society prepares itself to embrace the change and to liquidate the freedom. Then I will discuss about age of high mass consumption. From maturity, the economy moves to the age of high mass consumption. In this stage, the leading sector of the economy shifts towards production of durable consumer goods and services. It is characterized by the migration to suburban areas and the extensive use of automobiles and household gadgets. Okay. the attention of the economy is shifted from production to consumption and welfare of the people. In this stage, the balance of attention of society is shifted from supply to demand, from problems of production to problems of consumption and welfare in the wider sense. There are three forces which tend to increase the welfare in this period. First, it can offer greater security, leisure and comfort to the working class, and thus mature economy and may become a welfare state. According to Rostow, the emergency of the welfare state is one manifestation of a society moving beyond the technical maturity. Second, it may attempt to enlarge its power and influence in the international sphere. Third, it may use its resources to provide increased private consumption on a mass basis. That is, these resources are increasingly diverted towards the production of consumer durables and the diffusion of services on a mass basis. United States of America was the first country to reach the stage of high mass consumption in 1920s. It was followed by Great Britain 1930 and Japan and Western Europe in 1950, and Russia entered this stage after the death of Stalin. Okay. Then limitations of Rostow's stages of economic growth. The concept of takeoff no doubt carries a wide acceptance among underdeveloped countries, yet it is a dangerous weapon. First, capital output ratio not constant. Okay. While calculating the capital requirement for takeoff period, Rostow assumes capital output ratio as fixed. This implies constant returns to scale. The assumption is valid in case of advanced economies, but underdeveloped countries are characterized by the predominance of agriculture and primary production. Thus, the planners of underdeveloped countries cannot rely upon the constant capital output ratio for the calculation of capital requirement for takeoff. Second, it ignored the removal of unemployment. The concept of takeoff has been criticized on the ground that it does not consider the problem of unemployment at all. Third, economic development not spontaneous. The concept of takeoff suggests an element of spontaneity which is of little significance in the context of underdeveloped countries. Okay, aeronautical concept not correct. Professor Bikanik does not agree with the symbolic presentation of takeoff, as it appears to him like a light flying animal just not off from the earth and floating in the air. In fact, it is like creeping over a very difficult threshold of economic development. One has to creep it, one can fly over it. It is not a takeoff but a very painful process which every underdeveloped country has to go through. 5. Removal of obstacles not discussed. The concept of takeoff suggests a condition for accelerating the pace of development, but failed to throw light for the removal of certain obstacles faced by the underdeveloped countries. Elements of ambiguity. Another limitation of the concept that there is an element of ambiguity in the concept of takeoff when applied to underdeveloped countries. During takeoff, investment increases with a rise in the national income without reducing average propensity to consume. So, these are the limitations of Rostow's stages of economic growth. So, in this class, I have discussed that Rostow's stages of economic growth and limitations of Rostow's stages of economic growth. Thanks for watching.